Cheers. So nice to be here, and thanks a lot for the invitation. I'm so happy, and it's been a wonderful day. Yesterday was great too, meeting a lot of teams, and yeah, I'm sure there'll be an opportunity again to network this evening. I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I planned actually to talk a little bit about is what I do day to day, and just a little bit about Startup Bootcamp, which is our accelerator, and then because the theme is business models, so I decided to go back and look at some of the business models that I've been involved in innovating and developing. So I'll try and keep it short and try and engage a little bit with all of you. First, just to get a feel for who's here, like who's doing a startup right now? Hands up. Okay. And who are investing in startups or want to and would like to? Okay, a few of those as well. And who are government officials, or organizers? Okay, there's one, a couple. Okay, cool. Okay, so from the ones of you who are doing a startup, how many have been doing a startup for a year or less? Okay, that's quite a few. Okay, and between 1 and 2 years, and more than 2 years. Okay, cool. Just to get a quick feel. All right, so what I do is I work in rainmaking, and rainmaking is a partnership of serial entrepreneurs. So what we do is we would come up with a business plan, we will gather the team around it, we'll find the investors, and we'll be managing the company until we can do an exit again. We've been doing this since 2007, and we have now 10 portfolio companies. If we had been really successful with all the stuff we did, then we would have had maybe 20 today. But after all those failures, there's only 10 left, and we sold 2 as well, so they're not in the portfolio anymore. We have offices in Copenhagen, where I currently live, and then we have one in London, and we have operations out of Munich. I think there's only 6 people down there, 6, 10 people or so. So this is how we organized. Try to sketch it out a little bit. Those logos are some of the businesses that we run, and it's a bit like a shared services center and a really strong partnerships around strong values that we have. But each of us are running our own business. Right now, I used to run the Focus DK business, but there's actually another CEO now, so I'm kind of in between startups a little bit. And that's also why I'm helping out with Alex's program, which is Startup Bootcamp. I want to just mention the way we do startups and the way we work in rainmaking might be a little bit different from what you hear from other people. So sometimes we work a lot, because we like it a lot and because it can be necessary at times, but we think it's also important that we have the privilege to live the lives that we want to, and not staying in the office just because we have to. It's okay to have other friends, to do other things in life. Most of us have big families and so on, and also the culture within the company. We try and create something that is warm-hearted, warm-felt. A culture of compassion throughout the organization, also through the businesses that we create. And hopefully this is also something that shines through in Startup Bootcamp. And this is something we're really passionate about. A lot of people say that the only way forward is just to work really hard and never sleep. I believe that's not a particularly good idea, not for that many days in a row at least. So you need your sleep to think clearly. World focus, we want to be part of the problem in the world. So this is about doing charity at times. This is about creating startups that we are proud of, that does something that creates real value for people out there. Okay, these are some of the businesses again. One of them, I just want to focus on Startup Bootcamp for a little bit. How many of you guys know what an accelerator program is? Okay, so most people know what an accelerator is, and you probably all know then Techstars and Y Combinator of the US, probably the two most famous programs. We wanted to do, Alex came to us in Rainmaking. He said, hey, I want to do an accelerator in Europe. It'll be the biggest one, and I already talked to Techstars, and do you guys want to do this together, and I can work on this part-time. We were like, yeah, that's really exciting, Alex. Let's do it together. But you can't do it part-time. That's impossible. We tried that before. So commit yourself, and he did that, and he's been working on this for the past 2 years. And together we sort of created the framework, and we became the first global affiliate of Techstars outside of the US. I think the first in general, actually. And now there's more than 20 of us. We've set a footprint throughout parts of Europe, and we want to make it even bigger. The cities that we do, it's a 3-month acceleration program. It's a competitive process to get in there. Once you're in, you get free office space. You get interactions with mentors continuously through the program. You get a bit of seed funding. And we run these programs, and we did the first one in Copenhagen 2 years back. And we just did the second one also in Copenhagen. We started doing one in applications just closed for the first Amsterdam program. We're proud to announce that, and Dublin is going on right now. So 3 cities. We did 30 teams. There's going to be another 30 teams this year, and we're going to be back also in Madrid to do another program, and hopefully also this or next year we'll be in Berlin and London. As Rainmaking has an office in London, we will probably look into doing something there. And Berlin is kind of obvious these days that there's so much going on, so we want to be on the map. All right. A little bit about the partnerships. If any of you have you ever considered applying for an accelerator program? Any of you, the startups? Considerations? Okay, yeah. A bit of advice of what I think is important when you look at which one to apply for. I know there's a tender out, so there'll be one also locally here in Estonia, which is great news. I think it'll be up sometime this year-ish. What I'll be looking at is the mentors. So we heard from Chris earlier today that mentors are really important. The startups that do have mentors, they're more likely to be successful. I would look at the programs, what kind of mentors do they have? Are the mentors relevant for the startup that I'm doing particularly? Someone I want to talk to in specific? So that's something to really, I think that's the most important thing. Funding is not so important in my view. It's just a little bit of micro-funding so you can get by. Follow-up funding, on the other hand, can be important. Another thing I think is really important is the corporate partnerships. Are they interesting for the sort of startup that you're doing? Right, so, you know, if you're doing Spotify, right, then you thought about, okay, it would be really cool if we could do a Facebook integration. Does the accelerator program have access to Facebook? And no, we don't know the VP of integrations at Startupbootcamp, but we could probably find someone. But that's something I would really look into, because that's something that really you can leverage and take your startup to the next level. So those are the 2 things, mentors and partnerships. All right, yeah, go ahead and apply if you have a rockstar team. We really look at teams. Teams are, that's the crux of a good startup, so yeah. Okay, I'll tell a little bit about 2 business models that I've been involved in myself. And these are 2 of the portfolio companies of Rainmaking. And so we're not really an investment company. We could be in the sense that we invest our time, but I consider myself an entrepreneur, so I would start out a new business and get an external investment and so on. That's the way we work. The first one, Focus DK, I've been the CEO of that business for a couple of years. Now there's someone else running it. But let me just tell a little bit about how that started, and then I'll move on to Godsyn, another business. And then I'll hope to engage with all of you. So FocusDK is a business that addresses the problem of company lunch, right? So you know that in most businesses you'll have a canteen, and in some situations, depending on cultures and so on, you'll go out for lunch at other places which are a little bit too small to have a canteen. You might have food delivered, and so this is very common in Denmark, and it's very popular for businesses to order food and bring it into the office. So you offer employees or your colleagues to come and have a lunch. So businesses, they would go and they would find a local catering company and they will sign up for that. And in the beginning, everyone is so happy because you know, we really like this food from a good friend at Tommy's Barbecue. That's the only picture I could find on the net. But yeah, we really love him in the beginning, right? Then goes a little bit of time, you know, after a couple of months, it's sort of the same food. They try and vary the food a little bit, but it's never entirely successful because they would have the same suppliers in that kitchen and they would use the same spices, maybe it's the same chef and so on. So after a little bit, they get tired with this. And after maybe half a year, they'll be that unhappy with the lunch that they will go and look for someone else. Okay, so my good friend and partner Martin, he was working with one of these guys. Let's call him Tommy's Barbecue for the sake of it. It was actually in Denmark a famous TV chef, so probably a bit more famous than Tommy. But Martin was working with him, and they were doing this B2B catering on the lunch market, and they saw, you know, there was so much churn in the customer base. So Martin, he thought, okay, what can we do about this? If we go and partner up with a couple of these guys, we go and partner with Tommy and Louise and all the catering companies in town, then we can probably retain the customers for a little bit longer. And he did so. He spinned out. He started FocusDK, and that was one of the foundations of rainmaking also. And so the idea was just to, you know, collect a bunch of caterers on the website and let the customers choose between these, maybe set up programs that they automatically change every 3 months. So that's how it came about. And I think it's a beautiful model in a way because it satisfies both the customers and the suppliers, and we sort of wedge in there. A little bit like the example we heard before of mobile payments. It's also about wedging into the value chain. So that's what we did. And also it was something about this is that they came out of real life problems, right? So it's a pain that we saw for our own business, and you know, how can we solve that? It's a real pain for the customers as well, because every time they have to look for a new supplier, it takes time, and you know, employees are unhappy in the workplace. Oh, it's this boring lunch again, and it's just a hassle, right? So it's a real life pain, and I think this is important. If you guys want to develop your business model, look at the real life pains. Look at something that you've tried in your own lives, maybe. Look around you, also in your own businesses and your startups. Try and see what are the customers about. Usually a lot of the startups I've seen, they pivot a lot of times. And that's because they experience that, okay, we address one problem, but actually there's a bigger problem just next to it, right? And so that's probably where you want to get at, because there's usually more money involved in a bigger problem that you can solve. Okay, yeah, so here's the model painted out. Happy customers, happy FocusDK, and yeah, happy caterers also. Yeah, we can talk about afterwards how this has developed over time, but today we serve about 1.5 million meals a year, and there's some revenue. I'll just go on and talk a little bit about my other colleague, and his name is Morten. And his real life problem was that he didn't have the greatest vision, so he couldn't see that well. He was wearing glasses, and you know, it was a hassle, you know, playing sports, and just a hassle of having glasses. So he wanted to have surgery done, and you can get these eye laser surgery procedures. So he wanted that, and he did a bit of research on this. And as Denmark is right next to Sweden, he also decided to do a bit of research in the Swedish market. And what he found was that you can get the same quality, the same type of doctors doing the same procedures at half the price if you just travel a little bit. So Copenhagen is, you can get to Malmö in 20 minutes. So this is really significant for Morten. He gets really happy, and you know, it's not cheap to have your eyes done in this kind of procedure. So that would probably save him more than 1,000 euros actually, and he can see better than ever before. So he's a happy guy, and he wanted to extend that to other people. So he started by addressing this, that you can actually get it for half the price if you travel a little bit. Again, it's just a real life problem, an experience he had himself. He had a really good experience. He made money. He had better eyes. Happy guy, and he asked the doctor who did the procedure on him in Sweden, and he said to him, "Do you have your book full, your schedule full every day?" And he was like, "No, maybe half of the day, and I make okay money, so it's fine. But yeah, I could do with a few more patients, a few more clients. That'd be fine." He was like, "I think I can get you some from Denmark." So we made a deal with him and said, "Okay, we get a cut if we can get more clients for you." And we just went ahead and try and market this, ask around Denmark. We could easily get clients. So we started ramping this up, and he was a really happy doctor, and I'm sure he made a lot of money on this. I think we split equally or something, and it became a real company. We employed like 15 people or so to do the call center, fill out the books, and then what happened was that we did the same thing, but we wanted to integrate a little bit further backwards in the value chain. So we decided to expand and go into Germany. And that was a different story, because it was a little bit of a failure in a way, because we thought we could just go into Germany, employ the doctors, and get the customers easily, because we were the low-price player in Germany. But for some reason, it was much harder than we thought. And it was much more costly, there was much more regulation. So this is an example of going to another market, this logic of, it works here, let's just apply the same thing over there. And Germany is right next door, we almost speak German, and it's kind of, you know. But it wasn't that easy. So we burned a lot of cash on that. But still we managed to place ourselves in a strategic position, so we became interesting for larger players who wanted to make a market entry into Germany. So that's why we were able to exit City Lasik after just a year of operations or so. But it was a hard time making it profitable, like a real big business. Yeah, and Godsyn, which is the other eye laser surgery business, we did an exit of that, and I think we sold it at, we're still on an earnout, but it's probably around 10 million euro. So I can't brag about, you know, billions of users and things like that, but you know, we have a couple of stories of real life problems that I think you can turn into businesses. So I think they have a few things in common, right? It's a real life pain, and you know, look for where can you wedge into the value chain? Where can you find the money? Try and identify that in the space. Look for partners. That's what we've done. You know, in our case, it was caterers and eye doctors, and then, you know, find the customers. Of course, it can also be that you can produce a product yourself. and then go to market with that, but leverage yourself like Spotify does with Facebook. Brilliant move, I think. Really, I think that's it for now. I'll be happy to talk about some more. These are somewhat successful businesses. I'll be happy to discuss some of the failures, because maybe I've even learned more from that. Yeah, I'll be happy to take your questions also about Startup Bootcamp if you want to know more about that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mads.